It's been a while. What's been going on? Well, can we say we did buy that house? I was supposed to be back in March. We were supposed to be working out. A lot happened. More than I wanted it to happen. And for a brief moment, I thought, how are we going to do this? How are we going to make it through this? And I say we. How are we? How am me? How is this dad going to make it through it? How am I going to get my little girl through it? So, stick around. We're going to talk a little bit more about adversity as a single dad. So, well, y'all, it's been a few months. As you can kind of tell, I'm in a different place, a different space right now, different headspace as well. So roughly after the last video that you guys saw of me, and it's been about 5-6 months, and I apologize for that. I knew we were going to take a small break. Actually, I think the last time we talked was in maybe January. So it's been about 6-7 months, and I apologize for that. The point of the matter is a lot has happened. We bought that house. It was amazing. It is amazing, right? I got to say that. And for a dad who was trying to take it to the next level, how to bring normalcy, the shifting sand. And you may be a dad out there, and you may be a parent that's a single parent, and you may be looking at it going, I don't know how I'm going to make it. I don't know how I'm going to put on the air, especially as a father, of nothing being wrong. I think the most important lesson for your children, whether they be little girls or little boys, is that we parents are fallible, and it's okay. But in my situation, I learned a couple things, and I wanted to sit down tonight and I wanted to talk about them. I wanted to share them with you because I think they're pretty profound, because it was a lot of learning that I had to do. It was a lot of a situation where I was beat to my knees and asking myself why, and even my own faith, and questioning why would somebody, or why would God do this to me after the year that we had been through, divorce and COVID and everything that my daughter and I had been through, my son had been through. Why would this continue to happen? Right? So we had, to give you a little recap, we had bought a house that my daughter fell in love with. And I spent every dime I had in savings to get this house, literally every dime. And as a dad, you always want to make your princess happy. You want to get her everything she wants. Not that I don't love the house, and I didn't love the house. I did. I don't want to put that all on her. Closed on it on February 17th. And here, if you don't know, in the state of Texas in the United States, we went through a period of time where it was one of the worst ice storms and snowstorms that we had. And it were sub-zero temperatures. And it wasn't just one day, because we're used to like a 1 day or 2 day. It maybe snows 1 inch to 12 inches and we're done by, the next day or so. And this was a week-long event, sub-zero temperatures, which we weren't used to. Power outages, rolling power outages throughout the entire state. It got kind of dangerous for a little bit. Regardless, I bought the house on February 17th. If you're here online, follow me on YouTube. I'm gonna put a picture here on the screen. It was me closing. I was immensely happy with myself as a father. Like I'm taking steps forward. I'm moving forward. I did this by myself, right? It was very enlightening. It was empowering. It was scary, the whole process, and not knowing, and so on and so forth. So that day, in the middle of this storm, I went and bought this house, brought some boxes over, looked at the house because it was just too cold. Couldn't move anything. The movers weren't allowed to move anything because of the movers weren't allowed to move anything because of the situation of all of the ice and the snow. And so I had them scheduled for the following Saturday. Came over, brought a couple boxes over, went back to my townhouse, and continued to pack and prepare for. I was going to go to work the next day. and then get ready to move on Saturday, or that following Saturday. And I got abruptly called at about 6:30, 7 o'clock the next morning, February 18th, and my real estate agent said that the neighbors had called and water was streaming out of the house. And in that moment, I knew exactly what had happened. I knew that I wanted to cry. I knew that I now had to take a really tiny car and try to drive through snow and ice to get to the house. Got to the house, thankfully, and just as they had said, there was about 1 inch to 2 inches of water throughout the entire first floor of the house. Big, massive hole was blown through the attic into the main living area. I'll put a picture of here. And water everywhere. Water, you could tell water bubbling up in the walls throughout the entire first floor. It's a 2-story house, entire place. And the neighbor came, and I tried to put on that brave face, right? I don't know these people, but I put on a brave face. And as you as a dad, you may do that a lot, right? You're faced with adversity. Everybody's looking at you and going, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to say? And you as a dad are going to go, yeah, I got this. It's not a big deal, right? And as a dad, maybe you have a wife with you, right? Maybe you have your wife and you can lean on each other. And if you can't, you should. I never in my life wanted to be married or have at least a teammate more than that day. So the neighbors left, closed the door, got the water to stop, and I dropped to my knees and I bawled. I cried. Harder than I've cried in probably at least the last 15, 20 years. It was hard. I cried harder than when I got divorced. I mean, I'll be open with you and honest. I mean, it's okay. I think even as ex-military people, we go through a process or a series of situations, and we raise our young men to say, don't cry, don't ever cry. But sometimes you're going to. You just have to. What was the alternative? Get mad, punch some more holes in the wall? God knows I wanted to. But I was literally immobilized with fear. I was immobilized with, I don't know what to do. I've never felt more like a child than in that moment. A helpless child at that. What am I going to tell my daughter? Our house is destroyed. I have no more money. I spent it all. Our entire savings on this house. What are we going to do? I got insurance, literally that took effect the day before. What if the insurance gives me a problem? What if the insurance won't pay it? How am I going to get it fixed? What am I going to do? Like, got to move out of my town. All of these things flooding through my head. I called my family. They were, mortified. First time in my life, I reached out on social media and I asked for help. If you lived in my area and you can not go to work and just help me. And I begged for help. I begged for help. And it was a very telling time for me, because in my life, I've never asked, let alone begged for help. And I did. And I went through a good couple days of just severe depression. Canceled the move, obviously. Pushed it out. And, adjusted my move out date and things along those lines from the townhouse. And, did the things. It was about 2 days of just getting the things taken care of. The insurance, that's the next step. And YouTube, thank God for YouTube. What do we got to do? What's the next step? How do we get through this? And if you've ever been through a tragedy and you've never been through a tragedy, first thing you do, call your insurance company. right? Mitigate as much of the damage as possible and call your insurance company immediately. Take pictures of everything. That was one thing that my neighbor thankfully told me. Take pictures of everything. I didn't know that, right? It was like, well, why? I don't know. And then everybody was having the same problem, so there weren't people coming out here. I needed this water out of my house. I needed the water out of my house to stop it from spreading. I wanted it, my dreams of shifting sand in a townhouse and walking dogs 3 times a day, 4 times a day outside because the townhouse didn't have a yard. In any of those situations, all of that just, like, what am I going to do? Is this the breaking point? Like I said, after a year of COVID, I had a bad time at work. I thought I was going to get fired. The massive weight gain, all of the things. If you followed me, because this is about a year since I've been talking here, minus, like I said, there's been a 6 month gap. But we've talked about a lot of these things, right? Narcissism. We've talked about child development and what dating or not dating and when you should or when you shouldn't. But in that moment, I was like, okay, God, you win. I give up. I'm on my knees. I'm in water, drenched. I don't know what to do. There was probably a good hour to 2 hours of me sitting in water, crying, not knowing what to do, begging online to help. And then I got to the situation and I remembered, it's going to be funny. And it's from the movie, I want to say it's from Mars, right? I think it's Mars. Not Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. And he says, you get to a point, right, where you don't know, there's so many problems and you don't know what to do. And all you can do is look at one problem and solve one problem and get to the business of solving that problem. And that's what I did. I got to the business of solving one problem. And from one problem, moved into 2 problems, and so on and so forth. And that's what I did for the entire time, for the last 5-6 months. But in that immediate time, I went through 2 or 3 days of real utter depression and, oh, woe is me, and why would God do this to me? Or, whatever your faith is, right? Whatever this higher being, why would they do this to me? What did I do wrong? And I didn't do anything wrong, right? If you believe in a higher being, whatever the situation is, or you don't, at the end of the day, it came down to, I needed to learn a lesson. This is what I've come up with. I needed to learn a lesson, and maybe you do too. This was just a house, but I needed to learn a lesson to be grateful. It was a problem I needed to solve. I needed to prove to myself that I was stronger than I thought I was. There was a lot of things I took out of it. And then I heard a story about a soldier or airman who had passed away, and a couple of days after this had happened to me. And I'm sitting here crying over a house that's destroyed and will get fixed one way or another. It would have gotten fixed. And this young, airman's wife was, grieving the loss of her husband, her childhood, sweetheart, her whole world. And I'm being that petty, and that turned the overall view. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, you don't know, Renaissance Daddy Jay, whatever you want to call me, you don't know what it's like where I'm going through. I do. I've been there, right? I've been there. I've been poor. I've been, we've eaten rice and beans every single day. We've gone through abuse. I've been through, holes in my shoes. I've been through not getting haircuts as a kid. I mean, we've gone through that. I've gone through that. And I fought through that. And now I've gotten all the way to the point where I bought this house. I was so happy about buying this house, and then boom. It was like a bomb went off in my life. And then it hit me, and I like to think of it as that moment of perspective, of an epiphany, of, my own internal me saying, shut the heck up. It's gonna get fixed. Have faith in nothing else. If you can't have faith in anything else, have faith in yourself. and get to work. Get to work. Get busy getting to work. Once you solve one problem, move to the next one. Move to the next one. If you cannot see the forest through the trees and you don't see how to get through it, make it to breakfast. From breakfast to lunch, and from lunch to dinner. When I was in boot camp at 17 years old in the Army, that's how I got through it. When any bad thing in my life, that's how I got through it. And that's how I got through this. It was one problem. And once I got busy working on one problem and that problem was fixed, I moved to the next one. It was the insurance company. It was the dry out company. After that was done, it was, when do the movers come in? When do I have it moved? Am I packed? Do I unpack some of it? How much is this going to cost? And how do we come up with this amount of money to pay this, that, or the other, right? And now that's happened, it's the walls and everything were gone. It's what paint color do you want it to be? First off, it's which contractor. When the contractor can come in, can the contractor put the person in? Are they doing the right amount of work? Are they not doing the right amount of work? Are they going to be done in 4 days, 5 days? They take months later. What color paint? I mean, these are small things, but it was one thing after another, trying to balance a move, a work, live upstairs for roughly 4 months. 4 months now. I moved downstairs at the mid to end of June here, and really take stock, right? It's taken me some time to really take stock and get back into what I love to do, right? Which is talk to you. A situation where I had to learn that to get through, to see that sunny day, right? I was like, it's another house. I get a house. Yay, I spent the money on getting her the house, whatever. And then not really appreciating it, honestly. And it hasn't gotten easier, taking on a mountain of debt to get through it all and continue this journey, and so on and so forth. And to feel inspired to sit down in front of a camera, expose myself to you. That sounds bad. Not expose myself, but open my heart up and tell you and share with you. It was hard, picking the contractors and getting through it all, and watching my daughter try to be strong. And I had to sit down with her shortly after it all happened and say, when I was able to stand up and say, look, I don't know if the insurance is going to pay for it, but I can tell you that one way or another it's going to get fixed. And whether daddy's got to learn how to get on YouTube and how to teach myself how to hang drywall or run electricity or whatever it is, I'll fix it. It will be fixed. Have faith in me. Don't abandon me. I won't abandon you. She never did. She never would. And there are times where it's funny and it's unfair, but that little 12-year-old girl was my biggest cheerleader. Daddy, I don't know how this is big. These are bigger problems than I can handle, but you, I know, can handle it. Hopefully, when you're out there and you're dealing with those things, you have somebody, whether it's your kids or your wife or your significant other, boyfriend, whoever it is, right? Like, is helping you, is being that cheerleader for you, is because it's hard when you're dealing with challenges and struggle in life. It's hard when you don't know how to make it through. The lesson I end up teaching my kids from this is you can never guarantee that you will not have a problem. You can never promise them that you're never going to have a problem. I've gone through my entire life, 44 years of my life, saying, why do I keep having problems? And if you believe in God or anything else, I'll just say it this way. You're going to deal with problems. You can enjoy the sunshine of the next day until you've gone through the night before or the storm. If you've gone through a hurricane, the hurricane's horrible, but the sunshine after that hurricane passes is absolutely amazing. The warmth of the sun is amazing. It's yin and yang. You can't have one without the other. You can't experience the depths of sadness without the depths of joy. And joy isn't as bright unless you've had some sadness. And you don't see the sadness unless you've had joy. You need that contrast. So never wish for a problem-free life. Just wish for and prepare for the ability and the knowledge in yourself and the faith in yourself to say, whatever it is, I'm gonna get through it. And that's what I learned about myself. Hopefully you're gonna learn that about yourself. And hopefully I'm teaching that to my kids as well. So it was a good lesson. And it's a lesson that I want to continue to share with you guys. You're going to hear a lot more content coming out here in the next few weeks. I want to get back into my weekly vlog, my weekly podcast of just what's going on, as a dad and things that I deal with, funny or otherwise. And this was a big one, right? This is big. We'll talk about my workout journey. Hopefully you're on your workout journey. I've been a little predisposed or to doing some other stuff, and I've just got back into it. We can talk about a whole bunch of different topics. Hey, put them in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you guys. I know there's not a very, very many of you out there right now for the Renaissance Daddy, but I want to hear from you. I started a new company, JSO Creative Solutions, so you're going to see more content here. You'll see some on what I call the Toro Tech, and you'll also see from my website, jsocreativesolutions.com, where we talk through voiceovers and photography and videography and video editing and a whole host of different solutions that we can provide. So go out, take a look at that as well. But I want to end with some positivity, okay? Do better, be better. That's right. Haven't heard it in a bit. Because you know better. So from my heart to you, hopefully your next day and this next week is a real barnstormer week. You get everything that you need to get done. You go into the week with positivity and light, and you make sure that you hug your kids. You make sure that you appreciate the interactions that you have with your coworkers, your family, and everything, because you're never guaranteed tomorrow. You're never guaranteed another minute. And that next minute may be filled with sorrow. So make sure that when it's sunny outside, soak it up, y'all. Soak it up. Until next time, this is the Renaissance Daddy. Peace.